Hi, this is Antoinette, and today's video is going to be about a dream I had in the early 2000s of earthquake in New York City. Okay, now I have been to New York City after that, and we went to go see my brother who lives in New Jersey, and he lives about 2 hours away. He used to work in New York City, and he was there you know after the Twin Towers went down, because I remember him taking us even to see Ground Zero. I would say that I'd say that we went in like 2007. So I had the dream before that, possibly a year or two before that. And I remember thinking about the dream too while we were there. No, I wasn't all paranoid, but I was curious. It was we spent a day in New York City, and he took us to all the surrounding areas. We went on a ferry and everything else. But on with the dream. Now I am showing, like, I have some things pulled up here, and what I did see was let's say, in the dream, I am looking directly across the city, New York City, Manhattan, whatever it's called, the main city there, directly across, and I know that I am I'm in New Jersey, okay? So I am looking directly across. I have a very good view of the city, and I can see like the river there, the Hudson River, and the water was really wavy. Like, that's one thing I noticed right away. It was during the daytime. It was like a bright day, but the waves were very wavy. And the waves were like kind of like flapping, like some of the water was going over some of the levees already. I'd say the waves were pretty crazy, and they looked like anywhere from 2 to 3 feet high, just really waving, really crazy, disturbed waves. And I'm going to show you like kind of like where I was, and kind of like the vision that I had. Just moving my camera here real quick. I need to learn to edit, because I have a lot more stuff here, like possibly to show you in the other videos. So here, this is like, I would have been right here, I would say, and I remember seeing a bridge like further up ahead to the left of me, and I knew like it was a toll bridge. Like, that's what stuck in my mind, like toll bridge. And then I know, like, I don't know where in my dream, I wasn't looking at the Statue of Liberty, which I know is like over here on this side. So here's the Statue of Liberty. I did see the Statue of Liberty looking at it from a different direction when we went to visit. So I'm like more over here, because I don't remember like didn't see the Statue of Liberty. I'm looking more at like the curvature I can see somewhat of the curvature. Okay. And this might be the bridge if this is the Holland Tunnel. Okay. So what I'm seeing is this whole area here, at least to where I can see all this like area here, like it is pretty wavy. Like, the waves are crazy. Like, seriously, they're crazy. And I'm looking, and I also see like a little port, or I don't know what you'd call them, like a dock, maybe around 200 feet from me, to the left of me on the New Jersey side. I see also like a parking that kind of protrudes out a little bit, like into the river, where people get on, and they park there, and they board the ferry to go across to work. And it appears to me as though it's a working day, because like that parking just reminded me of workers, and the parking was like full. And So I'm noticing these waves that look like really crazy. Now, the sky doesn't look gray or anything like if it's a hurricane or anything, but I do get this visual. Now, in the dream, before I go on, I'm with another individual. I'm with like somebody like I don't know, but in some of my dreams, I'm with somebody that's like somewhat taller in stature. So it's somebody kind of like taller in stature. Uh, Someone's like taller in stature. I never remember their face. I get like a masculine presence, somebody calm, more, I don't know, like a more knowing type person or something. I don't know if they're just showing me something, but their nature is like, I don't know, like calmer than mine or something, like more assured in themselves or something like that. Other than that, I'm with this other person and we're like around here. We're looking directly to the city. And I'm not looking behind me. So I never look behind me. So I'm just noticing these waves. And also what I do know, I get like this visual of what is exactly happening to or making the waves be so crazy wavy. And what I'm seeing is like underneath like this area here, this particular area, this area like around here, like through this direction, pretty much like into this direction, where this comes out right here is cracking. There is like this cracking and it looks like rock formation cracking, like 3 or 4 cracks. It's cracking. These rocks are like cracking underneath the city. Now it's mostly here. As to whether it starts triggering off other fault lines, I don't know, but it was based here. This was the main the main area where it was taking place right here. And I'm over here somewhere and looking directly, watching these crazy waves. And then I get like this visual somehow of what's happening below the city. And after examining, like doing more research of the city afterwards and its geography, I come to realize that it is, this is like how I was like looking at the city, but from the New Jersey side. And just to let you know that prior to that dream, I always knew that New Jersey did border New York City. I mean, New York, period. And but I did not know that there was like an area in front, like I guess that's Jersey City. Like that's just looks straight across right there. Like I found that out because of the dream. And so I learned something new that day. Then, so like, as you see this one here, let's pull up this one. That's back to where I was. So somewhere like over here, you see how these kind of protrude out a bit? Like there was one on the New Jersey side, like not far from where I was. Probably didn't come out as much as that one there did. But it was like square shaped, I think. And it was like somewhere like over here somewhere. And it did protrude out into the river a bit. And it was a parking that was where people parked and boarded a ferry to get to and fro from the city, from New York City. So other than that, on this, in this area, what I was like seeing, like I get this, like this visual, really, okay? What was happening with the city or what was causing all this, this disturbance in the water. And it was like mostly based around that area. Like the whole area was like, it was being affected. but like I knew it wasn't affecting like the ocean that much. Like, like I knew that it was mostly based around that area. So if here's New York City and I'm over here, it was like the cracks, and I say cracks because I was seeing like cracking, like cracks happening underneath, coming more from this direction. So I don't know, it was like maybe water was getting in into these cracks from underneath, because like I kind of did see also like some like geography of like underneath New York City when I saw that. So let's say like here's New York City and here's all your buildings up here, uh, and I'm on the New Jersey side, and here's the Hudson River for however deep it goes. And so I'm over here, me and this other individual, and we're looking, and I'm looking directly across, and like under here, like the visual, what I saw was like like rock, like thick rock, something similar like that, like kind of inwards a bit, sort of. And like these cracks were like right in here, like that. They were like, it was like that, like around the that, like right under the city, but coming in like the way it curves like that, like they were coming in from this, like they were coming in from this direction, like the cracks underneath. Now, as to whether the people of the city can feel any trembling at that time, I don't know, because where I was at, I didn't feel any shaking. I was just watching. And so during this water event, like the water was very disturbing. It was like right in front of me. I can see it, and I can see like water like kind of like flapping over the levees. It would look similar to the way it looks like when a hurricane is coming, but it was not a hurricane. I don't think, unless you were a seismologist, the city would have been totally unsuspecting of what was about to happen, like totally unsuspecting, unless you were probably a seismologist, that like that Richter scale is just going off. But so I'm on also on the New Jersey side, and all these waves, it's crazy. And this parking lot, and I'm like over here maybe about with this other person about, I don't know, like 200 feet, I guess, like I'm just estimating. uh I could see like all these cars parked here, you know, where they board the ferry, and there was a man standing in that parking area. He's like the only one I saw. So I assuming this is like a weekday, and people are working, and they're busy working, and that's why this parking lot looks mostly full, and because most people are working. But however, there was this one man standing up there as though he was either going to leave or, I don't know, catch the next ferry, but he was standing in there. And this parking dock, or whatever they're called, it was like protruding out a bit. It was more kind of like square shaped, and it like whatever it had underneath the water, like here's the land right here, and the parking's there. I don't know if there was any other parking. I was just noticing this. And so it's out, it's got all this parking here. Okay, so because of the waves, like so crazy and heavy, and it were kind of like gushing over this and causing like this dock, this parking dock or whatever they're called, to like collapse. It collapsed. And so like I'm witnessing this dock here like collapsing, and it goes in like that, and the cars like start falling into the Hudson River. like they just start sliding off into the river. And this man, he got caught up in that, and he slid off too. He slid off the dock too, and the cars were sinking. And he managed to like stay above water, and he was struggling a lot. He was struggling a lot because like the waves were probably about, I don't know, like 3 feet high at the highest, and like 2 to 3 feet high. It was pretty wavy, very disturbed water. Uh, uh, like the water was very disturbed. Like, let's say this is the Manhattan area or New York City, and how it has buildings all the way around like this, even coming around this side here. And like the water was pretty disturbed, like right around here. It was just like really disturbing the water a lot. So, like a lot. And so this guy is in the water, and he's like really, he's struggling. He is struggling, and the waves are like kind of intense and heavy. And I start looking at him, and like I can't help but watch him, and feel like, oh, you know, like that man needs to be saved, and my swimming ability isn't that great, and like really my swimming is not great. And like even for somebody that was a good swimmer or something, they would be leery to jump in that water because it was pretty intense. But all I could think about was this man, and I was watching him and his struggle and just trying to stay afloat, and the waves go all crazy. And so this person that I was with, I remember like looking at them, and they looked at me, and like I don't know if they talked to me or were thinking towards me, but I got this like if that person told me or something, like if you want to go save them, like go save them, like go save him, you know. And I was like doubting somewhat like my ability, and especially that water, anybody would doubt their ability. And I was like, and like, but I felt this like this assurance, you know, like from this other person, like I could do it. And I know, as crazy as that sounds, and like if you use your faith or something, you can do things. So I'm looking at this man, and finally I didn't take that long to decide because I'm very concerned about him. And I finally jump into the water, and I'm swimming through these waves, and it feels kind of like a hurdle, and because the waves, but I am very like determined. I have this like dogged determination that I am going to help this man the best, like I'm going to help him. I want to save him. And so I'm swimming like if I'm a Navy SEAL or something. And but there is somewhat of a hindrance even for me too because of the waves, but I am very determined. And I finally make it to him, and I grab him, and he's like he wasn't expecting somebody to grab him, and I grab him and like pull him like to help him, like to grab onto me or something. And it's pretty intense little scene there. And so he like grabs onto me, and I start swimming, and we probably have about 50 feet like from that area where he's at, where that dock or that parking dock went down, and we're swimming, so it's like a closer distance from where he's at to the shore. And like I start swimming with all my might, and he's like kind of holding on, but then he starts helping, like, okay, you know. And so we finally make it like to the shore, and we kind of like drag ourselves up. We're soaking wet, and we both drag ourselves up a little ways, a few feet, you know, from the water. And it looks kind of like a gravelly area, sort of like a dirt with some gravel. And and I know I stand up, I get up and I'm standing and I'm looking at him and he's like sitting down, he sits down and he's kind of like going like this, like thinking like what happened, like what just happened, like everything caught him by surprise. He was like kind of traumatized in a way, and in a way me too, you know, because like I was not expecting to see something like that and everything was so crazy in a way. And like he didn't know, like New York City was like experiencing quakes, and I know I didn't tell him. And he looked up at me and I think he was a little like looked at me like oh, like it turns out that I'm a woman. Like that had helped him, because I don't think there was any real time in that water to even know who grabbed you or who's pulling you or something. And so he looks up and he finally has like a moment of to look at me, and like to really look at me. And he looks up and he tells me like thank you. And I remember like telling him something like you're gonna be okay. And I walked away. So I walk away and the dream ends, okay? And I walk away like satisfied and like somewhat impressed that I was able to do that. Like I if you just I don't know, like if your mind is so clear and like nothing, like you don't have any doubt or something, I guess you can do it. You can do a lot of things. So that's kind of like how I did it. And so the dream ends, and so I know you're probably thinking, well, what happened to New York City? Well, I'm going to tell you what I saw, what was about to happen to New York City. It was what was about to happen. And another thing that I knew is that I nobody knew that was going to happen. Like it was just going to happen one day. And and like it was just something that was going to happen one day unsuspectingly. And probably people that would look at the waves and wonder what was going on, they would probably think, is there a hurricane coming that we didn't know about or something? Because it would kind of resemble that, but there wasn't wind in the air or anything. It was quaking. It was like I was seeing cracks forming underneath the city. And yes, obviously, earthquakes. Uh, it wasn't just one large earthquake, it was quaking in at least 3 or 4 areas, what I could see. And as for, you know, helping somebody like that afterwards, I thought about it. And I do watch like some phenomenal videos about people being saved, and some street camera picked up something, and somebody just like some person just appears out of the blue and saves somebody immediately and drags them to safety, and then just like walks away. And that's kind of like what I did. I just walked away like satisfied that I helped this person. And I remember feeling a lot of compassion and for him, a lot of compassion. And so to me, if I am seeing, or if I did see something futuristic, to me that's, in my perspective, that's like a form of time travel. And in my perspective, God can do anything. So it's like kind of like a form of time travel where I was there physically. Something happened, that some heroic action happened in my perspective, helping somebody there, some unsuspecting soul, and dragging them or helping them to safety. and walking away. And in my perspective, that is like I was already there physically. Like I was already there. And it's not going to happen for me again. But I'm not going to be there when that event takes place because I was already there. And this person for New York City and for that man, it's yet to happen. But in my perspective, I was already there and it already happened. So I don't know how to explain that any better, but I think God works in mysterious ways, and it was pretty real to me. And I don't know if that, I can't tell you for sure if that would, if that's really what would happen to New York City, but that's what I saw. And it was focused mainly on the city and underneath the city. Like if it's like that city is important, that one, like more important I suppose in these other cities, more important like I don't know worldwide. But that quake was underneath that city, these cracks, mainly New York City. And I know I've studied afterwards the geography, and I know that a lot of these surrounding areas here, Staten Island, all these places were built on bedrock. But the main, I don't know if you would call it a target, I don't know, but the main event was right under New York City. As to how any triggered fault lines happen after that, I don't know, and I didn't see the aftermath, and I did not see the devastation. And maybe I was spared of that because that would have been great. And so I don't know the amount of devastation it would take or what it would suffer. But I was seeing what was just about to happen to New York City, and it was going to suffer some substantial amount of destruction. So if any of you think, and if you live there or any other city, and if you have a gut feeling that maybe, you know, you would be in a safer place, because there's a lot of cities, and there's like Los Angeles is on a fault line. And if you feel that, like, or maybe it's just the politics that are happening or certain things, I would consider leaving the cities. I would consider leaving them to be in the safer areas or better areas. And like not just New York City, but what I saw is this city was going to be destroyed by an earthquake, and not one big earthquake. There were several quakes, mainly affecting that city. Okay? And it was going to suffer a substantial amount of destruction. So that's all I have to say about that particular dream. And I have had other dreams throughout my lifetime. Ever since I was a teenager, I've been having dreams. So some of them shorter. So I just figured it was probably about time I start sharing those dreams. And I like to listen to other people's dreams. But I know they're just dreams, but some dreams are just so real. They just really feel that way. So just consider those words if you live in a city. New York City.